Hello, so today is my 10th video. Today's the 10th and I thought the best way to celebrate the 10th would be to link it in with my other 10th thing, which is my 10th book review of my 61 challenge. I'm only 51 behind. And I have the summer, and I know for a fact that in the summer I read a lot more than I do during term. I've already managed to finish another book and I'm starting another one too. So it is coming along, it's just being a bit slow. I'm going to do that review in just a minute, but I thought the best idea before I do the 10th is to just go through the last few that I've done. So the first book that we started off with was All I Know Now by the lovely Carrie Hope Fletcher. I still think as fondly on the book as I did before, and you can check out the blog. From a completely different genre, we had some Shakespeare pieces. I can't remember the order I did them, so I'm just going to list them all. We did As You Like It, which is awesome. The Taming of the Shrew, and King Lear. Since then, we've obviously had the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's death, so obviously there's been loads of Shakespeare stuff going on, and if you're interested in that, go check it out. BBC has loads of it still online, and there's some really great sketches from all of those plays. And relating to that, we did Peter Brook's Evoking and Forgetting Shakespeare, a very short little book. But if you want some critical analysis of Shakespeare, he's a great one to turn to, as he's a really engaging and exciting director. There was my sneaky little one, which was 101 Dalmatians, which probably doesn't count, but I'm counting it anyway. Also did Hector's Search for Happiness. I'm still not a massive fan, but I think it is a good book, so read it, but don't get your hopes up. And finally, of course, you have the most recent, which were the Lays of Marie de France, which I love. Read the blog, obviously. All the links, actually, will be down below. All down below the screen. And my Approaches Handbook. If you like literary criticism, great. If you don't, sucks. So today's review, which will obviously be done in more detail on the written blog, is of Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran Foer. Now, this book looks at some sensitive material. It's based around or uses 9/11. I can understand why that would put a lot of people off reading it, especially if you knew people involved in the incident. However, I think it's done really well. It's handled very, very sensitively. I definitely didn't find the references annoying or heartless. They were really human, actually, and I think it really helped drive the plot. So it wasn't just taking a big event and making something from it, basically trying to capitalise on tragedy. It actually really works as a book, and it's very emotive, and it made me cry a lot of times. This is all sounding extremely serious, which is sort of sad because it is a really good book, really heartfelt moments, and is great because the narrative style fluctuates and different voices you hear at different times, but you don't always know who's speaking, and you only realise who's speaking after you've read 10 chapters later and you've seen another snippet and it all comes together. And it's so clever, and he is such a good writer. But the main voice of the book is Oscar. Now, Oscar is a young boy, but he was very young when his father passed away in the 9/11 incident. So it's not actually at the time, it's like the repercussions on family and on their lives and of other things in life. You look at Oscar's grandparents as well, from a slightly distant perspective, but in places different. And it is very, very human. It gives you heavy boots. Once you've read it, you'll get the reference. But it tackles something so serious in such a way and in such an innocent voice for a lot of the book that it makes it almost more real. It's really hard to explain. It makes it more real in a really honest and really comfortable way. You feel like you can trust Oscar despite the fact he's tiny, and you feel that he can trust you, and it's quite a nice relationship you build despite not knowing everything, because Foer definitely holds back stuff from the reader. But you feel a connection with him, and you feel a connection with people. The book does get confusing in places and it does drag in bits, especially around the middle. And the end then seems very rushed, especially when you've had this sort of dragged out centre. The end is a bit abrupt and it's not... I was talking to a friend about this. It's not an end that fits the build-up, but it's an end that fits the build-up. In the build-up means you want something explosive and heightened, and people might criticise the book because the ending's a bit disappointing, but at the same time the ending is perfectly disappointing. It's exactly like real life, it's exactly true, and it makes you imagine how people involved must have felt, because it's not their life, their continuing life, how they move on. It doesn't have a concrete ending. It's not an explosive thing. It doesn't blow up. It just keeps going. And although Oscar's adventure finishes, it's that sort of tone of, and it keeps going, or this is done but there's still more, and life goes on, is portrayed really realistically, I think. Not having some sort of amazingly dramatic, excitable ending makes it sort of mimic the entire point it's trying to make. I think it's a really thought-provoking book. This is so personal and human, and I think that gives it an edge that just has a different twist, and that twist is good and horrible at the same time. Thinking about loss, and see what I mean, it's just thinking about the book. Thinking about loss and demonstrating it in the way that Thrower does is so... I can't think of the right word. It's so real and comforting, because it's honest and realistic and sad, but it's true, and I think it moves you. God, sorry. Don't read emotional books. But do, obviously. Read the book. It's really good. I know many people might not want to, especially if they knew people. But I think it's worth reading even if you did. It might make you feel like how you feel 15 years on is okay and normal, and that you're not alone. I think the messages that it sends are appropriate and applicable to any kind of loss and any kind of horrible event, and I think Thrower is an outstanding writer. I really do. Sorry that this has become a bit of a sad one. It wasn't gonna be. I didn't know where that came from. But definitely go and read it, and if you have any more reading suggestions as we move forward in this challenge, please put them below, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.